Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, which is probably already obvious to you. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make GIFs in Photoshop Elements 8. Now I know that there are newer versions out there, but I'm not as familiar with those new versions. I do have, I think, 14, but I'm the most familiar with 8, and I'm pretty sure that these techniques, one way or another, work the same way. So let's just get started. So the first thing that you want to do is go over here to File, Import, and Frame from Video. So there's a little box is going to come up. This is where you're going to spend most of your time grabbing frames for your GIF. So what you're going to do is kind of browse and then find your video. Found out the hard way, but you need to have one of these files for your videos. You need AVI, WMV, ASF, MPG, MPEG, or M1V. I don't know what those other ones are, but I have decided to use an AVI. MP4s do not work, sadly. So once you load in your video, that's going to come up right here and you can watch it. Alright. I have chosen a 2-second video because the longer the video is, the harder it is to GIF, because it will look really choppy as you're going along here, like this is, because it's lagging. But you get the idea. The longer it is, the harder it's going to be to grab, and that's the major part that you want to focus on when making your GIF. So as I just showed you, this is the entirety of the video. It's only 2 seconds, just like that. You can see the little bird going, and I'm going to go to the very beginning of this video and click grab frame, and so then it pops up back here. So we have this first one, and then we're going to take this slider. I like to just click, and if nothing comes up, then we go again, nothing, keep going, nothing. Because this video is so short, we could probably just slide it until there's movement. Oh, there we go. Wait, go back, and this is the most tedious part, but we picked up slight movement there, so in this next frame we're just going to grab another frame. And this continues until you have as many frames as you like, and I'm going to probably stick to around 15 to 30. I don't recommend going past 30 frames because the size of your GIF will end up being too large and you won't be able to upload it to any websites or anything like that, because a lot of them have a small limit. So yeah, just keep continue to grab frames. My click trick is working now. You can see the slight movement, so just keep grabbing the frames. I will meet you back when all of my frames are done. Okay, so I have come across something that you might come across, and I wanted to address it. I am already at 25 frames, and the major part of the video that I wanted to grab was this bird here, and you can see that it's just now coming into the frame, and I already have 25 frames grabbed. That's okay, you can still grab more and then delete these past ones, and I will show you that when we get there. I'm going to keep grabbing past 30 until my bird is all the way across. Alright, so my bird is all the way across the screen, and I am done grabbing frames. So I grabbed quite a few, 59, but that's okay. We're going to lower that number significantly in a second. So after you're done, you're just going to click done. Simple as that. And now you're probably at this point thinking, wow, this is tedious.
Ho, ho, ho! You'd think so, wouldn't ya?
We're not even halfway done, my friends. There is an easier way to make GIFs that I would definitely recommend, and that is with a program called Instagiffer. It is not as high quality as this, as Photoshop does cost money, but Instagiffer is free and it does a very good job making GIFs. So if you guys want to see a tutorial on how I use Instagiffer, let me know down in the comments and I will make one for you. So now that we have all of these frames in here, what we're going to want to do is minimize them all. And they're just going to go all the way down in the bottom. You're just going to keep going until you have minimized every single one. Now what I did is that I accidentally started gifting it too soon and started way before my bird came into sight. So I'm going to only minimize to where I first see that bird come into the picture, maybe a few seconds before it, just so that I can make sure that my GIF is long enough. Alright, that seems to be good. I have a significant amount of frames down here, and now I'm just going to click X on the rest. Alright, I've deleted all my frames, and now I have all of my other frames minimized down here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to maximize the first one, which was the first one down here, and these go in this order. So they're going to go to the left, starting on the top, going to the left, and then they're going to keep going to the left and going down. Pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to full screen this one and make it slightly bigger. And now I just keep maximizing all of these. Make sure you have your pointer move tool on, and I'm just going to drag this frame onto this one and X. I'm going to line this up so that it is exactly on top of this previous frame, and then do the same thing. I'm going to move this over and then drag it onto the other two frames, X, line it up, make sure it's exactly on there, and then repeat until you have done so with all of your frames. There's my little bird right there. Alright, now we are done with moving all of our frames onto one section. At this point, you're pretty much done unless you want to add some more effects. I also want to mention, go down to this one, the very first one that says background. I don't know if it affects the GIF. It might just take out this one frame when you save it. But I always go down here and I click layer from background just to make sure that it is still a part of the GIF and not the background. It's a layer. So like I said, at this point you're pretty much done with your GIF. I have all 37 layers. I might have to trim those a bit, but 37 should be okay. And what you can do is you can add subtitles to your GIF. So like I can go in here, click the text, and make that like a blue for right now. That can be whatever color you want. Let's change the size. Hello, whatever. I like to, have it like that. Actually, I think white looks better on this. It can be however you want it. Do whatever your heart desires. I also, sometimes to make it easier to read, like if you're gifting videos with dialogue over and you want to have subtitles on them, sometimes it's harder to read, especially if you have white in the background like this. See, it's really hard to read this word now because it's behind the white. What I like to do is you go up here and you click layer, layer style, style settings, and click on stroke. And you can see already that it has this new black outline on it. You can change that color to whatever you want. 3 is the default, but I sometimes move it to 2, although I think 3 is probably sufficient for this. Right. Now, unfortunately, you can't just do that and be done.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
You have to copy the text file and put it in between each one of your layers. And then you have to merge it with each layer. So for instance, this is my very first, the top layer up here. If I saved it with this in between each one, it would save with blinking text in between each one, and we don't want that. We want each text to be connected with the picture. So we can go in here, right click on the layer, click simplify, and then click merge down. So now it is its own layer, and that is how you want to save it. You want to make sure that it is all merged to each individual layer. I don't want to put text on my GIF, so I am going to delete these by just selecting all of them and clicking delete. Another thing you can do if you want, you can change the style. Sometimes I like to do soft light on it just to give it a little bit of a filter, I guess. But I think it looks pretty good like this, or even I could go in here and click hue saturation, and just make it black and white. That looks pretty good like that. So I might make it black and white actually. And just like with the subtitles, you're gonna have to make each one above each layer, and you don't want to see how that makes it darker, but it's okay, you can just move it and it fixes. This is what it's gonna look like. And if I do this is the other layer, and so on. You're just going to want to repeat that. I really like the black and white, so I'm going to make all of these have the hue saturation layer above each one and then merge them, and I will be back when I have done that. Could really go for some donuts right about now. What about you guys? Okay, so I have finished copying the hue saturation layer and put it in between each one of my original layers. And as I said earlier, the next step you want to do is merge it down with the layer. So now this layer is black and white. And I'm just going to repeat that. Okay, so a shortcut you can do if you don't want to sit here having to do right-clicking and merging it down, you can click on your hue saturation layer and click Control E, and it will automatically merge that down for you. And you can just keep doing that all the way until you have made each one the same, and it's the same for text or any other type of filter you want to put on all of your frames. Just keep in mind, the more things you want to do, the longer you're going to sit here copying. Now that all of my layers are black and white, I am done with my GIF. So I do want to double check the size here and click resize just to make sure. Yeah, I always make my GIFs smaller than this because it is going to be really big by the time I save it, and I'll show you why. So when you want to save it, you're going to go all the way down here to Save for Web. You're going to click that. It's in File, Save for Web, and it's going to pull up a slightly different box than just the average saving. This is where you have the option to save it as a GIF or GIF. So the automatic preset, at least for mine, is GIF. You don't need to change anything up here except you want to click Animate. But as I said earlier, the size is too big. I need to go back out and resize my image. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to make it 500. So that way, it does make it a little bit smaller, but that's okay because at this point I just want to save it. So we're just going to go back into Save for Web, click Animate, and if it says it's still too big, you can go back out and resize it, but this time it worked. Down here it says GIF 2.404, and the M means it's megabytes. So whenever I make GIFs, I always post them to Tumblr usually. I don't have any other websites that I post GIFs to. they just recently made a change to their limit, and it is now 3 instead of 2. So 2.404 is good enough for me. If I did need it to go under 2, I would either resize it or go over here to where it says colors. These are all the colors that are in here. So right now there are 256 different colors in this whole entire picture. So if I needed to, I could just pull down that drop and then make it 128, which you can see decreased the size significantly and didn't really change any of the picture. So if you were in a pinch, you can definitely do that, but I'm just going to make it 256, make it the highest quality I possibly can. And you can also change the size here also, but I never mess with this because you never know what can happen. So also there's this in the animation section, this is what you want to pay attention to. The automatic default on mine anyway is 0.2. So it's going to delay each of your frames by 0.2, I think it's seconds, yes, seconds, for when you play it. So usually this 0.2 is pretty slow in my opinion, but you can always check. So you can always preview this in your selected browser. Just click on that right there. Mine is automatically set to Google Chrome, and it just opens up Google Chrome and you can see what your GIF looks like in action. But as I said, 0.2 is very slow. As you can see, it is moving so slow. You definitely do not want that slow of a GIF, because who wants a choppy, slow GIF? You want it to be nice and smooth. So I'm going to change this to 0.1 and then look at the difference again. If it's still too slow, I'll change it to 0.05 and we'll go from there. This one is 0.1. It's a little slow. I'm going to make it instead, 0.07. When you get into the 0.0 numbers, they start to be really close together. So I would just make it however fast or slow you want. Doesn't matter. It's all up to you. That's the beauty of GIF making. Okay. Now, I think this is a pretty decent GIF right here. I don't know why it's stopping there. I might go back and double check that to make it smooth. I think I might have accidentally had a double frame in there somewhere. I'll go check that. But so yeah, this is pretty much the speed of which I want my GIF to be. I know it's not the original speed of the original video, but for the sake of this GIF, I really like the slow moving and the black and white. I think it looks really cool. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna have for in there. I'm gonna go double check, see if I have any errors. So if you want to make sure, like I had a little error in there, I'm gonna go back and make all of these invisible. There is a shortcut to doing this by right-clicking. Actually, I'll show that to you now. Right-clicking and show hide all of their layers. That gets rid of them all, so that they're all invisible, and then you can start from here and look at your GIFs. I'm pretty sure I have a little spot where it's the same, and let's see where that is. Oh, it's right there. You can see doing this does nothing, so I'm just going to delete layer 10. Yes. Okay, so I actually had an instance where I had more than one frame that was a duplicate. That's fine. I just deleted 10 through 13 so that now I have, when I go to the next one, it automatically moves there, and it should be a smooth transition now. I think there was another spot up here. Now I think we're good. So let's go back into save for web here. You gotta click animate every single time. I'm gonna make this 0.07 and we will preview it in Google Chrome to see what it looks like. There we go. this is really good now. It's very smooth all the way up into all the way to the end. This is exactly what I want for my GIF, and that's all you need to know. So that's what it looks like. To save it, you're just gonna click OK and name it whatever you want. I'm just gonna call it Ocean GIF. Click Go, and it's gonna save it, and there you go. Now it is on my desktop as a GIF. I can double click it and open it, and it will open like a regular GIF. And wait for it. There we go. There's my GIF. Just like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give it a like. It means a lot. And if you want to see more tutorials from me, let me know what you would like to see tutorials on. I'm open to doing a tutorial on Instagiffer if you guys are interested in seeing that. Or tutorials in anything else, maybe related to Photoshop. I can try and do something like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.